This video goes along with Topic 7, Objective 4. In this context, composition of functions just means combining functions in order. So, for example, if we had a function f of x is equal to 2x plus 1, and g of x, a second function, is x squared plus 1, well, we can evaluate those pretty easily. F of 2 is just 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. Or y of 2 is, what? 2 squared plus 1 is 5. So are those always going to be equal? No. If we try another example, f of 3, 2 times 3 plus 1 is 7, but g of 3 is 3 squared plus 1 is 10. And that's generally true composition of functions, is functions aren't necessarily going to be equal, and if you combine them in different orders, you'll get different results. Let's look at what happens if we do f of g of x. Now, I said that composition is just combining in order. So what this says is that we would do f of g of x, but g of x is x squared plus 2. So we would do f of x squared, not x squared plus 2, plus 1, which is 2 x squared plus 1 plus 1. But g of f of x is g of 2x plus 1. So that's 2x plus 1 squared plus 1. So now let's do f of g of 2. So that's, we're going to evaluate this for the value of x equals 2. So that's 2 times x squared plus 1, that's 5 plus 1, so that works out to 11. But if we do g of f of 2, we get 2 times 2 plus 1 squared plus 1. Well, let's see, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, squared is 25, that's 26. So f of g of x and g of f of x are not necessarily going to be the same thing. And these are called compositions. Now, let's look at compositions as they relate to trigonometry. In the top of page 321, example 7, you have a composition of a trig function, tangent of the arc cosine of 2/3. Now, previously, in example 6, you worked several problems where the composition was the inverse of each function. So tangent of arctangent, arcsine of sine, and it's pretty easy to see what's happening there because each inverse function just undoes what the one before did. In this case, it's a little harder to see what's happening because you're asking for the tangent of the arc cosine of something. So we have to do some work to find out what that is. Notice that we're asked to find the exact value. So we're looking for radicals and fractions, not a decimal approximation from the calculator. What does this piece mean? Arc cosine of 2/3. Well, that's just asking the question, what angle has a cosine of 2/3. And since arc cosine is only defined from 0 to pi, or only has a range from 0 to pi, then we can draw a picture of that. We have arc cosine is 2/3. That means the x value of this angle is 2, and the hypotenuse is 3. It has to be first quadrant because it's positive. So this is our angle right there. We can find the third side using the Pythagorean theorem. So we get 3 squared minus 2 squared, and that's square root of 5. Well, now then we can find our tangent of this angle, because this angle has an opposite side of square root of 5, an adjacent side of 2, and since we know that tangent is opposite over adjacent, the tangent is square root of 5 over 2. And that's the exact value for the tangent of the arc cosine of 2/3. Your checkpoint 67 works exactly the same way, and we'll work through it next so you can see how that goes. You have problems 65 through 72 to do, and all of those work exactly the same way. So here's the checkpoint. Cosine of the arc sine of 24 over 25. So this says what angle has a sine of 24/25. Since arc sine has the range negative pi over 2 to pi over 2, this has to be in first quadrant since it's positive. So we can draw our triangle again. The y value this time is 24, and the hypotenuse, so the y value here is 24. The hypotenuse is 25. This x value down here is square root of 25 minus squared minus 24 squared. So that's equal to the square root of 625 minus 572, which is equal to square root of 49 is equal to 7. So this side is 7. And now we can find the cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse is 7 over 25. Okay, and that's how these composition of functions work. Next video that you'll watch, we'll talk about how to do problems 45 through 52, which are similar but don't actually result in calculating a value.